Oh,
was that, Greg? Missed Oreo's butthole. Oh, look,
Well,
Oreo's butthole.
right yeah, we got Oreo's butthole. There we go.
Okay. Hey there, beer tubers. Welcome back to Beer Analysis.
Hello,
Your
Nick.
host, Mac Wellstar. Tonight we got with us Greg and Carrie. Before we introduce them tonight, we are doing Stash Burst Hazy IPA from Hop Valley, otherwise known as Stash Panda. As you can tell by the trash pandas that are on the label of the can, but again, we'll talk about that in a moment.
And I'm pre-gaming with this guy,
yep.
which is too bad we're not reviewing it, because I would actually give it a fairly good review. I think it's a reasonably good beer.
Right. Anyway, so further ado, let's go over to Redbeard and see how he's doing tonight. What's up, Redbeard? How you doing?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Oh, not bad.
Excellent.
All right. And of course, now we'll just have to wait for Greg to get back.
Nick, I have headphones. I can still hear you and talk to you, and I'm back. I'm just getting a glass for a beer.
All right, Greg, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. We got Bella here. Lazy. Don't look at her nipples. It's inappropriate. And then that's it. That's the only animal that's joining me right now. So yeah, we're good. I haven't drank beer in 3 days, so I'm going to break that cycle and drink a beer.
Yeah, I haven't had a beer since Saturday.
I believe I haven't either.
How's that? There you go. All right.
And baby, it's been cold outside, so I need some beer.
All right. Some warming beers. All right. So speaking of warming beers, I don't think this is warming at 6.5%, but let's get into the discussion here. So we talked about Hop Valley before, a couple of weeks ago, even. Hop Valley Brewing was founded in 2009 in Eugene, Oregon, by co-founders Chuck Hare, Jonas Kunigas. I haven't gotten any better pronouncing that. And Trevor Howard, along with Vice President of Sales Walter Macbeth. They grew Hop Valley from a 1,000-barrel startup into a rising star amongst Pacific Northwest breweries. You turn that off.
Sorry.
Eventually catching the attention of Miller Coors, who bought them out in 2016. Since then, Hop Valley has risen to fame by being a big supporter of Yakima Chief's hops, the cryo hop process. First introduced in 2017, Yakima Chief created their cryo hop process by applying similar techniques used in the weed THC harvesting industry. I was hoping to say that for if Paul showed up. Creating a cryogenic extraction process, separating the concentrated lupulin powder from the whole cone hops, harnessing the precious oils and flavors and leaving the leafy bract residue behind. Weed culture has always been ingrained in Hop Valley from the start. As a result, they capitalized on the weed-inspired hop process, making their weed-inspired Stash a series of IPAs, which include Bubble Stash IPA, Stash Panda, a Hazy IPA, and Cryo Stash Imperial IPA, which is the blue can that Greg held up. And of course, Bubble Stash, the one we did before. Tonight's beer being, why is this called Stash Burst? I honestly have no idea why this is called Stash Burst. I'm assuming it's some kind of licensing thing. The best thing I can tell is that this is the same beer. It's the same ABV, same blurb on the side talking about what it is. I'll read that in a moment. So I'm going to assume it's the same beer. So, yeah. So Hop Valley began distributing nationwide in 2021, as well as into Canada in July of 2021. Canadian production is handled in Ontario by Creemore Springs at the Creemore Brewery. I didn't write this down, but I know that at some point, like in 2021, they launched in Canada as Bubble Stash IPA. That was the only one. It was only been recently. I'm not sure what month that they introduced a multi-pack that includes, of course, the cryo hop, the what was the other one? Cryo Stash Imperial IPA, as well as this one, the Hop Burst or the Stash Burst. Other beers from Hop Valley include Bubble Stash IPA. They also have a Pineapple Stash House IPA, Citrus Mistress with Grapefruit Peel IPA, Alphadelic IPA, and there's probably a number of others. So this one, Stash Burst, is a 6.5% ABV, 50 IBU, New England style IPA brewed primarily with Citra Cryo hops from Yakima Chief, as well as grapefruit peel. It's also called Stash Pan in the States, as I mentioned. The blurb on the side of the can literally just says Stash Burst Hazy IPA. Features Citra Cryo hops and a hefty helping of grapefruit peel, giving this bright, hazy tropical ale an unmasked citrus flavor and aroma, which word for word is exactly what the American can of Stash Panda says. So I've said this like 4 times already. I'm believing it's the same beer. Okay,
You're
so
probably right.
let's go over to Carrie and say, what's your history with the beer, if you have any at all?
Had the 6-pack that I purchased so we could have the previous beer that we analyzed, and I drank all the beers in that pack. So I've had 2 cans of this beer.
Your 2 cans, Sam?
2 cans.
You ended up having to go back and get another pack.
And following my nose, and those Fruit Loops have been out for a while.
All right, let's go to Greg and see. Greg, what's your history with the beer?
Nothing wrong with some stale Fruit Loops. Well, my history is very similar to. Oh, I'm dying. My history is very similar to Carrie's, except I'm not as good of a friend as him, and I did not drink, or maybe not as good of a beer drinker as him, because I did not drink the whole 6-pack. I saved these, knowing we'd do them in the future. So this is the second time I've had it, and this is my second sip from the second can. That's history in the making right there. I've had 1 can of this previously, and then I also finished this guy since I've been told we're not going to anal it at any point. So, well, I've almost finished this. Still got this. So, yeah, well, I'm pre-gaming. So just what you need to do once you've knocked your tolerance down a little bit after a few days. So, yeah, that's your history. That's the very, very exciting history.
All right.
I was riveted.
Yeah, we were all on the edge of our seats.
I mean, I can tell. That's because you have diarrhea, though.
Not on the edge of the toilet seat, Greg. Okay, so my history with the beer is roughly the same. I had Bubble Stash, the original, like the green can, a couple of years ago when it first launched in Canada, but I didn't try the any of the others until I got one of the 12 packs of this beer. Like, I don't know, I bought a pack like 2 months ago. Looking at the date on this can here, it's code F, which I'm assuming means that this was brewed in like June, so it's a little long in the tooth at this point, maybe like 5 months old. I'm willing to bet it was like they launched this as a summer beer, probably came out in like July or August. I wish I'd known about it sooner, but anyway, like I said, I bought a case of this like 2 months ago. It's been sitting in my fridge since. The case had 3 different beers, 4 cans of each, and I drank the other 2. I have another one here because Scott never got a hold of me to get the second can of this, so he couldn't come on tonight. So fuck you, Scott. Yeah, like, so I've had 2 cans of this before, and I gotta say this is my favorite of the pack, but I don't want to give too many spoilers so far. Let's go to our non-existent comments. We have 2 viewers. We don't have any comments. If anybody's watching, just let us know what you're drinking, or
I don't know if
2 viewers are just here.
Breaking Marson news from I know earlier. I don't know where he is now, but Marson's entire household is infected with some sort of flu. So Marson, being the smart fella that he is, has been in a bar all day to avoid getting sick.
Nice.
So potentially, maybe he'll still join us for a bar. I don't know, unless he's fallen asleep there. Then I don't know.
Maybe he can get some a Stash Panda on tap.
You never know.
Of the hazies.
I don't recall seeing anything from Hop Valley there. Not that I was particularly looking for it, to be honest. But yeah, possible. If not, I'm sure he can get some sort of hazy on tap because they got plenty.
Like I get the feeling like with especially the U.S. beer market is a whole lot more cluttered. So you can you get this beer? They might have to check like 5 different stores, I'm guessing, just to see if they can get a can of it.
Yeah, but they also have, like, if you go to like the big stores, which admittedly not everywhere has, like I think I don't know the geography that well, but where they live is more of a smaller-ish town, which is still not that small, but they don't have any massive liquor stores that I went to. But then we went to, I think, around Greenville, which is the big city near them, and they have some fucking crazy liquor stores that is just like, oh, here's a row of 1,000 beers, take your pick. Unfortunately, most of them aren't refrigerated, so take your gamble.
Yeah, like I remember that shop that I went with Chris to. I think we went to Brood and Bottle. They were a little lot better. We also went to like an IPA, and they literally must have had hundreds of beers in there, and some of them were refrigerated, some of them are not. But I mean, I can imagine with the amount of variety they have there, because their liquor rules down there don't suck as hard. I love the fact that they got variety, but I can see if they brought in a mass amount of something, it'd probably just be a shelf turner. The literal sense of the word, like there's
a place called I think it's called Napa Valley or Napa something in Michigan, and they're not a particular big store. Like they're not small, but they're smaller than an average LCBO, to put it in perspective. What they do though is they have pretty good, like they have all their main shells and stuff, and they do a lot of like, apparently the owner's like big into like whiskey and stuff like that, so they get a lot of cool high-end bourbon and stuff like that. They got all that in the front of the store, and then the beer, all their kind of stouts and shit stuff that can sit around for a bit, and they have lots of high-end stuff, and they charge up the ass for it, but that's a different issue. That's all in the middle shelf, and then the fridges that surround it are all the IPAs, all the stuff that shouldn't go. So it's a really smart idea, because the stuff that they use their shelf space smartly, where the stuff you don't want to go bad, that's in the fridge, and the stuff that you want to age, that's right in the middle. Come grab it. It's like $20 US a bottle, but enjoy. So shops can do it if they're willing to put in the effort and the money to have have proper refrigeration. There's no reason they can't do it. But
it's one of the big issues with most of the grocery stores now is they've got some of them have fantastic selections, but it's just a straight up wall of shelves. Nothing. Well, actually, the one place here in town, Independent, they've got one small fridge that'll have basically half of it filled with like the Coors and Canadian and crap like that, and then the other half will be like random things they'll rotate out like weekly, but it's never nothing close to what it should be. They've got so much variety that should not be unrefrigerated, just laid out to die. Basically, it makes me sad.
And then you got the closest grocery store around here that sells beer is Starsky's. It's a Polish store. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it or not.
No.
It's sort of like it's a big store, but it's Polish. There's not that many locations. I think there's like 6 locations or something, and they have it's all Polish beer, and basically like they have like stuff like Molson, Canadian, Coors Light and stuff. So, and none of it's refrigerated, and nobody gives a shit, because Polish people are buying beer to get drunk, not to actually enjoy it. And none of it's craft beer anyway, so it's all probably fine. You throw it in the fridge, it's probably totally okay.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
We're a very sophisticated bunch, us Polacks.
This makes me sad how just the amount of like people that don't know, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm going to try this IPA, and then they just bring it home, and you look at the date, it's not that old, but it tastes like garbage. And for a lot of people, that's going to then turn them off of trying new things like that.
I mean, I would also argue, I mean, of course it depends how bad the beer is and stuff like that, but I would also argue somebody that's not into IPAs, they might still enjoy a beer that's not past its prime. Like, you might not like, an IPA that's say 4 months old or something. They might be like, oh, this is totally fine.
You're not wrong. That's Independent.
Yeah,
same
a lot of people
might
not even notice that it's so 4 months old or something.
They had an Omni Polo IPA. I can't remember which one it was, but I've had it fresh and cold, and it was delicious. And they had it on the shelf, and it was like almost a year old, I think. And I told the one guy about it. I'm like, yeah, this is horrifying. He's like, wow, it's one of our better selling IPAs. I was like, okay, what the fuck? Yeah, it's crazy.
There's an awful lot of people that don't give a shit. I mean, listen, if you're I've had the benefit of trying 10-year-old steam whistle at a
Jesus.
work function.
What?
Yeah, it was. Well, it was at my boss's old party, old house. There was a party there. It was basically a summer party, and it was at her house, and she's very wealthy, so her house is incredibly large. But the thing is, like, and it was all catered, but the alcohol had to be bought. So they bought alcohol, they bought beer, but at the same time, she wanted to get rid of like a bunch of beer that was in her basement because she's the type of person that she has a lot of alcohol because it's gifted to her often, and then it's just never drank. So yeah, she was just clearing out beer from her basement, and yeah, they were serving. First of all, like I was drinking the steam whistle that the catering company had provided or they had paid for, whatever, and it was regular old steam whistle, great. All of a sudden, I'm drinking this steam whistle. It's like it tastes like some sort of like maple syrup. Like it's like sickly sweet. It's just like, what is this? And I was already a little bit drunk, but even I was like, there's something wrong with this. I'm looking, and these are in bottles too, not cans. I look at the can. Oh, this is bottled in 2008.
Jesus.
No.
And this was only a few years ago. So I was like, okay, wow, that's what extremely aged steam whistle, non-refrigerated for 10 plus years tastes like. I was you know what? It was an interesting experience. I'm glad I could say I've tasted that because there's no way I'd ever aged steam whistle that long myself. So I'm just like, cool, I got to try this, and I didn't like it, but it makes for a good story.
No. All right. Yeah, of course, we got a bunch of comments here. We got Lee saying, "Greetings, fellow kids."
Hello, Mr. Russell.
It's more because the IPAs taste like garbage. Talking about
Wow.
5 months IPAs tasting the same to some people. These people playing Russian roulette with IPA should invest their time in a fine made Pilsner instead. Yeah, like steam whistle.
Yeah, exactly. Aged steam
Well made.
whistle.
What's fine made? Don't know. Well, fine made sounds like a Pilsner from like Ontario that can be aged for 10 years.
Yeah.
Nah.
Steam whistle's got it all.
Yeah. I'm drinking this beer, and I kind of still wish that maybe it was a little bit fresher.
I'm ready to go whenever. I'm having a garbage time over here.
Garbage
He ain't happy.
Garbage.
All right.
Falling off a goddamn cliff.
All right. Let's bring the beard up here. We might as well finish her off right now.
Yeah.
Is there a date on this?
Yeah. What's their letter code at the bottom of your can?
H11. A B C D
Yeah,
E F G
yeah, it would be
H.
like
That's
May,
August.
July.
I got 8.
Ooh,
That'd be August.
H.
Mine's fresher.
Yeah.
Mine's
Oh,
J.
GH. Yeah, so it's August.
Still,
What's yours,
I'm not sure the age of the last ones I drank. Again, like this, the second 6-pack I bought. Those ones, I was before we started the analysis. I was mentioning that I was pleasantly surprised with that entire pack. Usually, when it's like some kind of craft brewery that's been bought out and stuff like this one, it's not. Their IPAs are usually kind of crap, but they were pretty good. I enjoyed them. But again, that was a couple weeks ago, and I had to buy another 6-pack for this analysis, and those packs are sitting out at my local LCBO. And in the time of the last 6-pack to this 6-pack, this beer has jumped for its life from a Twin Tower fire.
Twin Tower.
Jesus.
Like,
Wow. That
escalated.
escalated.
911 reasons why he doesn't like this beer anymore.
It's so sweet and just, I don't know if something went weird with the grapefruit peel edition they got going on in it, but I'm gonna give it a little bit higher than I should because I know it was pretty tasty last time I had it. So it's not, again, it's pretty old at this point. So that's kind of not really the beer's fault. Style, I'm going to go 7.5. Enjoyment, I'm going to give it a 6.
All right. Thank you, Carrie. Let's go to Greg, who's got the freshest can as all.
I do. Mine is from Jay, which I believe is October, and
HIJ, yeah. Well,
oh no, it doesn't count. So hold on. B,
September.
C, D, E, September. There we go. You figured it out faster than I could count.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess mine's a month old, younger than Carrie's. To me, it's perfectly fine. I mean, I'm not the hazy connoisseur by any means, but no, I mean, is it much of a hazy? It's not typically. It's to me, it's more of a.
It actually
It's
comes
more-
through on camera looking very hazy. Funny enough.
It does come through looking
It
fairly
really does.
hazy, but it doesn't give me the typical flavors of a hazy. Now, I'm not as big of a hazy fan as Carrie is, as we probably know. So, I mean, to me, this is more drinkable, more enjoyable than a lot of hazies. I don't feel like I'm biting the skin off of a grapefruit. To me, I don't get the sweetness that Carrie gets, but again, maybe that's the extra less month of aging, and also this wasn't a fridge, to be fair. Because most of the LCBOs around me have the massive walk-in fridges. So this was refrigerated. So that probably also makes a difference. So it's probably equivalent to like 4 months younger than Carrie's when you take refrigeration into account. I got no real issues with this. It's kind of boring, but otherwise it's fine. So, I mean, as a hazy, an 8. It's pretty good. It's not offensive. I've had better hazies. I've had a lot of worse hazies. So personal enjoyment, it's a 7 for me. It's nothing exciting, but I really can't say it's any less than good. It's good.
I'm jealous of you.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
All right. It's all good. All right, so might as well put this up to me, and we'll finish this off. Not that way, Greg.
However way you want, Nick. It's your show.
I'm gonna burst. I don't know. Is it bursting with flavor? I feel like Mike date code says F, so that puts it at June. So I've got the oldest can here. And even when I bought it like 2 months ago, it would have been old then, like older than Greg's. I just feel like I kind of wish I had this fresher. And it's also, an IPA being typically the style you want to drink a little bit fresher. I feel like the nature of this, where they sold it in a 12-pack, which was for a decent price, mind you, where they sold it in a 12-pack, but they sold it at all the other macro beers that don't see the same kind of turnover. Or sitting on a shelf next to other beers that, if somebody's going for that kind of beer, they're probably not going to be looking for this. I just feel like it might have a better turnover if they came in instead of a 12-pack in a 6-pack for a reasonable price and put it in the actual craft beer section with all. Then, I mean, a lot of the other like crafty beers are sitting over there anyway, so who gives a fuck? I just feel like this deserves to be served a little bit fresher, and it's not that I felt like it fell off a cliff like Gary's saying. Even this one here at like 6 months old, I'm feeling like, I wish I had this a little fresher, because it's starting to take on that taste of this is really too old to enjoy. I feel like I'm getting it is juicy. I'm getting like the typical like grapefruit and citrus out of it. I feel like a lot of that is getting muted and subdued and resting, like the grapefruit peel, the grapefruit zest, and that rind and that resin is starting to overpower and make everything sour instead, bitter and sour instead. I feel like it's not quite as enjoyable as it would be if it were fresh and I had some more of that juice in the hop notes. It's just, I don't know. I don't hate it. I still think this is the best one in the pack. I suppose that doesn't really say much about the other beers, but I don't hate it. I would probably buy this pack again, but I kind of want to. I would love to have it fresher at some point. I just feel like I kind of wish I'd maybe drank these fresher. We did this episode a few weeks ago. Probably wouldn't have changed much anyway. Whatever. Yeah, so I would say for the style, I don't know, 7.5 seems like a good number for it. I'm still enjoying it, so even though it's a little, I'm gonna give it a, fuck it, I'm gonna give it a 6.75. I
Wow.
was thinking 7, but I'm like, I'm not really enjoying it that much.
Jesus, we're
Okay,
getting the
so
6.5s.
6.75. That's going to bring the numbers down. Actually, yeah, I think this means it's going to finish below below 7 for the overall enjoyment. I was just like, but I feel like if for some reason Creemore Springs or Hop Valley watches this show all the way through without getting disgusted at us, one takeaway of it is maybe work on how your beer is being distributed. Should be sold alongside other craft beers instead of being sold on a shelf with all kinds of macro beers. It should have it should stay fresher. It should have some higher turnover.
I
And
feel like
you've
Selling in a smaller pack in single cans than
a
make it
lot
so.
of breweries honestly need to do that. Like if I was the rep for, let's say, this brewery, any brewery, and I walked into the LCBO and I saw that beers that are IPAs or styles that need to be refrigerated are just sitting out on the shelves to die, I would say something. I'd get something figured out, because like that shit needs to change. It's
I
just
mean,
really, really stupid that
yeah, like one of my
it's allowed.
favorite things about it is the fact that it comes in a 12 pack that's for a reasonable price. Like for the same price that I would pay for a 12 pack of macro, I can give myself a 12 pack of decent IPAs.
Yeah, you
But
don't go to the
they're
grocery
kind of
store.
crap when they're not that fresh. And why are these selling over with the macro stuff? They should be selling over. I don't know where do they sell it in LCBOs?
You don't go into a grocery store and see most of the milk in the fridge, and then some other brands of milk sitting out on the
Yeah,
like.
well, fucking LCBO refrigeration.
Beer goes bad. It's like anything else. Like if you want to keep things fresh for as long as you can, you got to put the stuff that needs to be refrigerated in the fucking refrigerator. It's a really simple concept.
That's why newer stores all have the walk-in fridge thing, but older stores still are stuck with their limited fridge space.
Well, that's the one LCBO here in town has got a huge walk-in fridge, but they've got the entire biggest back shelf completely relegated to macro crap. The craft beer has the one short area of the wall, so even a bunch of that at the biggest LCBO is out on a shelf, and it's such a simple concept. And I know there's some thing where like Molson or AB InBev or whatever is obviously paying to have their stuff kept in the fridge or something. Craft breweries probably can't compete with the money they're pumping into it.
Yeah, but this stuff is Molson, isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't know. Like it's
Creemore does this. So, I mean, you guys have Molson behind you. Get to it.
Yeah, they got Molson on it. They should be refrigerated in Ontario.
And like I say, your experience is different than mine because mine did come from a fridge. But
yeah, but I'm just saying, like this stuff should be selling the same way and alongside, sitting on shelves alongside cans of like Barking Squirrel or something like that, or something. Like I feel like a can like this shouldn't be sitting on the shelf for longer than like 4 months.
Yeah,
it just doesn't taste good any past that.
You call it like a low level craft, I guess, maybe this kind of stuff.
I guess the term is crafty.
Like, that works.
Crafty because it's like a craft style beer brewed by a macro or a brand that's owned by a macro. So it's
craft like, adjacent,
like Mill Street, or technically even Amsterdam now, isn't it?
No, Amsterdam's still craft. They're a big craft,
but they're owned by Unibrew, the Dutch Unibrew. Now, remember?
Did they buy them? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Yeah, they did. But that's less. I'm thinking there's been a couple of big Ontario breweries that were bought up. I think there was because I know that Mill Street's part of AB InBev now.
Oh yeah, they've been by for a while. And the thing is, Mill Street. The thing is, when Mill Street got bought up by AB InBev, not that Mill Street was amazing to begin with, but they took a nosedive. Whereas, I mean, stuff like Creemore, it actually took a while before Molson ruined Creemore. Like they were still pretty good for a while, but yeah, Mill Street. It was like the next month their products started like taking a nosedive. supposedly, now this is coming from Chad the albino rhino, so take it with a grain of salt. But supposedly they AB InBev may have bought Mill Street for their distilling license, because apparently those are harder to get than just buying a
I
brewery.
remember him talking about it at the time.
So
But,
whether it's true or not, who knows?
Unibrew to acquire Amsterdam.
Oh, there we go.
But I would argue that they're also probably letting Amsterdam be a little bit more. They're a little hands off on them, letting Amsterdam still be Amsterdam.
Well, the thing is, Amsterdam by craft brewing standards is pretty mainstream. Like, you got their Double Tempest, and that's kind of it. Like, their other beers, interesting beers, are few and far between. Most of it's just like
when I first got into craft beer, I remember Amsterdam was releasing some interesting one-offs every now and then. They'd be like bottles of like a weird saison or some interesting stuff. But that's completely
remember that
stopped at this point.
Oh yeah, I still think they've
that's
released
stuff for a lot
Weiss.
Of breweries.
They could still be releasing some random stuff at the brewery or something.
They do still release random stuff at the brewery, and some of the stuff like Springbok and their Orange Weiss is still occasionally available. But again, I mean, most of their bread and butter is their regular stuff. Now, again, I would argue their IPAs like Bone Shaker, Space Invader are all excellent beers, and they haven't changed as far as I can tell in the last few years. So, bless you. So, I mean, in that regard, I don't feel there's been a downfall in quality. Like I liked Creemore. I liked Creemore probably till like 2016, 2017, and then all of a sudden they got their new brewing facility with all their filtration. Now all their stuff tastes like shit, because it tastes like it's like a step up from Molson Canadian or Coors Light, but that's not saying much.
Yeah, but they took away the charm that it had by changing its water source and too much. I mean, you can filter, but I mean, ultimately, if you're doing bunch of shit to it so that you can brew it in multiple places across country, and you're ruining, like one of the biggest claims to fame that beer had was that it was brewed using water from Creemore, which had an unusually like soft water. I think that's what was going on. You filter that too much, then you're taking out really what's in it that makes it special.
Yeah, it was I think it was the Mad and Noisy River is where they got their water supply from, which is why they had their crafty. I don't think they have it anymore. They had their more craft division of Creemore that was called Mad and Noisy, and they made like IPAs and stuff. They were. The thing is, Creemore had a very unique flavor to it. Like when you got a Creemore lager, it was different than any other lager you got. It had a very unique flavor to it, and now it doesn't. Now it just tastes like.
Pretty much.
So I mean, I won't turn down local place around my around my house 2 minutes away. They have Bubble Stash on tap. That's their IPA. So we go there more for the food than the beer. But they got Bubble Stash. That's what I usually get. Occasionally they run out of Bubble Stash. So the only other like crafty beer they have is Creemore Lager. I had it a few months ago because they ran out of Bubble Stash. It was acceptable, but it was nothing I'd really want to spend $8 a pint on normally if I could avoid it. But it's better than Molson Canadian, so there we go.
Yeah, I remember having a Creemore nut. I forget what it was. I don't think it was. It was less than a year ago anyway. And I remember just drinking the thing, and I'm like, man, this is really not as good as it used to be.
No, it's
just kind of boring.
Completely different beer, but now they like it because they can ship it across the country. It's got a long shelf life. Like even Creemore, we went on in 2012, 2013, we went on the tour of Creemore, and the lady said, she's like, Creemore is only designed to last about, I think, 2 months, or I think 2 months for their regular lager. And then they only had 4 beers at the time. I think the regular lager and Pilsner were 2 months that they should be drunk before. And then the Urbach, which I think was a 6 or 6.5% beer, that one they said was good for about 3 to 4 months. So,
oh wow, yeah. Remember? Don't you reminisce about times when breweries had that kind of turnover? They could say like, "Oh, every 4 months we want to overturn this beer," and now it's like you see 6-month-old beers from Creemore on the shelf.
Well, there was also a time, and I mean, I guess some breweries still do this, where they would literally just pull beers off the shelf if they were too old, and they'd just take the loss. Now that's started to become unacceptable.
Probably COVID. Margins are so thin.
I mean, COVID could be responsible. COVID is responsible for a lot of shitty things. So
COVID, I think, is one of the biggest reasons why the craft beer is like the whole industry is contracting. It's having problems, and it's almost like some people are treating craft beer like it was a fad now. That the fad is over. I don't think it is. I have no intention of not drinking craft beer anymore. But it's just right now it's gotten to the point where it's so expensive and the variety isn't as good as it used to be.
I feel well, yeah, GLB is always good when it comes to value. Like even stuff like their Apocalypse Later, like where else can you get 20 what is it, $90 or 90, I think it's $96 for 24 10% beers. You're not really finding that deal anywhere else. And I mean, it seems like a lot of money for 24, but for 10% beers, that's not bad.
All right, so ratings style.
Did say 96 bucks?
96,
I believe.
That's only $4 a can. That's a great deal for that big of a beer for sure.
And if you buy them individually, they're $4.50 a can, so that's not bad either.
Yeah, you get the discount for buying a case.
Something.
Was that sorry?
Hi, Nick.
All right, so yeah, I was just trying to talk about the beer, and everybody kept talking over me, just like I hadn't said a word.
We love you.
I know you do. My Windows keeps turning my volume down low.
Holy Christ, Jesus!
Oh, that's actually showing up on the screen. Like, you see that? You see that? I keep having to turn my volume up.
You should look into that.
Yeah.
Put a ticket
in. Thing where it's like let Windows apps override your sound.
It just did it again. It just did it again. I guarantee it just did it again.
And you're right.
Yep.
Oh, you're fucking right. Let me see if I turn that back up. And then I keep talking like this.
Wow. What the?
Holy fuck!
What is doing that?
Holy shit!
It's not even our fault we're interrupting you, Nick. We just can't hear you.
I never realized it was like
firing against me here. Fuck.
That makes no sense. There's some kind of like auto leveling thing happening or something automatically. I've never seen that before.
It's saying Nick is too loud.
That's weird, man.
That's spicy curry. I don't know. There's some sound setting I gotta adjust that changes whether or not the
I feel like your sound settings even just look kind of weird to me. Like sound settings on my my sound settings. Oh, okay, I guess they do, but yeah, mine's all the way it's supposed to be. That's weird, man. That's really weird.
There's a thing somewhere where you can disable allowing Windows to control the device rather. Like use the device is fine, but control it. And I got to look into it. I had to do it once before. Anyway, that is pretty much what happened. Anyway, so yeah, ratings style 7.7 overall 6.6. There's a shit ton of comments. I don't want to read them. Anybody else want to read them? Carrie?
My comment got deleted. What the fuck?
I didn't delete it. Maybe.
Yeah, no, I think Google did an auto delete because it was replying to Lee's 9/11 thing. Maybe that offended Google. So anyway, it doesn't matter.
So Lee was talking about Greg drinking steam whistles that were finished for 10 years in Greg's garage.
Not my garage, but in a garage. So yes.
Best description goes to Redbeard. I think you're talking about the when you see you can slide 9/11 to your tasting notes. You know you've got.
I somehow got muted. Sorry.
Maybe Windows is controlling your sound devices.
I was messing with some stuff.
Yeah, I replied to this with another 9/11 thing, and apparently Google didn't like that, so it's gone. Oh well.
Well, you hear that Hydra head of Molson that was once Creedmoor Springs? Straighten up. Molson got so big they don't give a shit. And that's pretty accurate. The radar is having a fit that Amsterdam's craft.
No.
And just get 6 Space Invaders if they weren't. And I'm like, yeah, you
that doesn't even make sense. That sentence does not make sense. You didn't
Leave.
just get them if they weren't. That's a double negative.
I think he's basically saying that, oh, I would not have bought these if they weren't craft. Yeah, no, Space Invaders are delicious. I agree with you.
Well, if they're not craft, then why would he say no Amsterdam is craft? Like that
It's
just
like toilet.
contradict himself. I don't
No,
understand.
I think so. I think he poor punctuation. I think it was more like, no, Amsterdam is craft.
Oh, it's like that Simpsons Lionel Hutz card. The meme, you know what I mean? Where it's like,
Yes,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I think better punctuation would have gotten his point across better.
And look, Scott's here to read the rest of the comments.
Oh,
that's
Scott!
kinda hilarious.
He
leave
just came back. He just
Where'd
came
you
back
leave
after
off? The
he just
toilet
came
water
back
comment.
Just came back after
I
flying.
know he
his
doesn't
World War
have
II
tonight's
plane.
beer. He's just
All right, cool. You want me to read them?
sure.
Radar says, Lee, if Nick's toilet water is heavy, Lee, if it's Nick's
Some
toilet
kind of
water,
radioactive
it's
power
everywhere.
grid joke again. Lame.
Giving them too much crest. That would at least
Wow,
have
that's
Crest?
not supposed to be credit.
Using
Make
too much
the S into a D.
toothpaste.
Wow.
Using toothpaste to
someone
clean your
needs to
butthole?
spell a little bit. Okay, Marson, 3 gay guys again. Jeez.
Jesus, not that
Yeah,
there's
now that
anything wrong with
Scott's showed
that.
up.
Now it's 4 gay guys.
Yeah.
Lee,
We got a full trade
Well,
now.
at least they love each other. Man love.
Oh, we love each other.
Radar, they're wearing socks. They're fine. Well, I don't understand that. That's okay.
Socks, sandals, and socks.
I'm wearing slippers. Lee Russell at Raider. Very heavy. Raider. Oh fuck! I can't spell that. I'm drunk. Lee Russell. Remember when $4 a can was a fucking ripoff?
Now it's normal. Like
yeah.
and
I mean,
like
$4.
IPAs are starting to go over $5 a can here
Well, I mean, I remember going to the bar and
$5.29
paying $3.75
at a bar.
at a bar for a draft.
That's why IPAs like you can get amazing deals at the brewery, but even like something like Bone Shaker, I think is only about $3.25 a can at the LCBO, and that's a great deal.
You guys are spoiled.
That's a good deal. At
You
$3.25
are
a can
fucking
is pretty good
spoiled.
for a bone shake.
That Ontario, like they haven't there's a lot of prices they haven't just outright jerked off.
Right.
Like especially out in the Maritimes, it's fucking nuts the beer prices right now.
Lee Russell says Nick's camp has great taste. Nick's comp has great taste.
We were joking about my my sound devices doing my volume input level kept going down.
Oh, okay.
Like I'll show Scott what happened. It was doing.
Oh, you want to see it in real time? Yeah, it's
Yeah, you
pretty
wanna see it?
interesting.
Yeah, if I do this and I start talking really loud.
Okay.
It's like trying to compensate and like level it, like auto normalize or something. It makes no sense.
Go back to the comment, and then we'll get to the beer rating.
All right.
Radar says computer can't take it anymore. The plutonium. Okay, good enough. Yeah, your comment didn't even show for moderation, Greg. Too bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That doesn't
Yeah, I
make
don't
any
know.
sense. Well, what was your comment? What did you even say?
All I said is a little 9/11 never hurt anyone.
And that's why it didn't show up on the comments.
I feel like that would
Yeah, right.
that would come up and be like allow or don't show. Like
Yeah, and
Yeah,
someone
I
said
don't-
no.
I don't know. Who knows?
I'm
Who
gonna
knows
try typing that same thing right now.
Yeah,
All right,
let's
what's
find
your
out.
comment?
Maybe it's
And
anti-Greg.
what it was Lee's 9/11 joke in the comments? Did he actually say 9/11? Like maybe it was the text that was yeah, he did.
Mine worked.
But
All right, let me try typing it again. Let's see what happens.
Might have been a Google ghost mod.
I
jumping
haven't
in.
put the 9/11.
Now I gotta get my channel taken down.
I said LOL at the end, so maybe it knew it was a joke. And Greg
So
didn't say hello.
okay, well, so I'm just gonna say neither my comment or Carrie's have shown up on my feed. Like I
No, mine
literally
neither.
just typed it, hit enter. Mine's not there. Carrie's not there.
Wait, you know
Lee's
what?
came up at 10:09. So
That's
And now CSIS is on the way to both of your houses.
yeah. Lee's confirming. No, wait. Your comment isn't here, Carrie.
yeah. And
It's
neither
on-
is Greg's probably.
Yeah, we've already. Yeah,
Lee just typed 9/11. His comment showed up.
Well, let's just
Yeah.
say I just typed
9/11.
maybe
I
it
just typed
allows
hel-
Greg to be. Maybe it allows Lee to be racist. Or
I saw-
or,
It
not
lets
sure.
Lee be racist
On
because
your guys' screen, or do you guys have the video up right now? The stream. Are you seeing my comment on yours?
nope.
Nope.
What the hell?
Greg said 9/11, and then
Anyway,
Let's
well, you gotta wait for somebody to ask the magic question so we can continue on with this episode.
hey,
We've already
Nick, what's
given our
next week's
thoughts.
beer?
You're in the chat right now. You can't ask
Well,
the.
fuck you. I can join the chat.
Well, here.
See, I did it again. It went away. Oh, you guys can't see. But when I just typed 9/11, it's fine. When I specifically type a little 9/11, never hurt anyone, it doesn't
Rescue
show up.
911.
What's going on here?
Like again, mine's here on my screen for some reason. That's really weird that it's like not.
No, I see nothing from Carrie. I see nothing from I say hello and I put 9/11, but the other comments I make, they don't show up.
All right, so next week's beer. The question has been asked by both Lee and Jimmy Jazz and Scott Myers. Scott's in the chat, so yeah, okay. What did we discuss that we were going to do next week? It was either a BYOB or a Christmas beer episode.
Christmas.
I think Christmas should wait till the week before Christmas.
Wow.
Well, that's how
we
it's
do.
I have a special Christmas beer from Moosehead to bring in.
Oh, that
You know what?
blood.
There can be a difference between a Christmas beer and a winter beer.
Ooh.
If you want to do winter beers next week,
Why don't we do 2
We
weeks of
can do
winter
winter
beers?
why not?
Winter, Christmas, whatever. 2 weeks
Yeah.
of it. That work?
Works
Yep.
for me.
Fine. All right. We're doing 2 weeks of Christmas beers or whatever holiday because there should be a lot around.
So, yeah.
And-
So anybody that wants to join, that's a massive window of beers that can be brought. For this stuff. So we should have a. We should have to use Discord both
Christmas,
weeks.
holidays, winter, seasonal, whatever. Don't care if it doesn't.
So
have
so
to
for
necessarily
instance,
be Christmas. It just has to be. Winter seasonal.
so for instance, it could be like a
Loose
seasonal,
interpretation.
like a seasonal winter stout.
This
like
tastes
just a
like
big-
pine needles.
nice-
It reminds me of
a ni-
Christmas tree. Bring it.
a nice big. Oh, there you go. I was gonna say like a nice big heavy stout, like would be acceptable as well.
Warming for the wintertime. Yeah,
I
that's
forgot to
acceptable.
mention this earlier, which sucks as we're kind of wrapping things up. But anybody watching,
Wrapping things up.
Everybody
Another
here?
Christmas idea.
open the stream, smash that like button. Get more views on this stuff. Put it into the
I always
ethos
feel
of
like
YouTube.
liking my own videos is equivalent to masturbation and just loving myself.
You should be
love
masturbating.
that.
You should be
Nobody-
masturbating.
I suppose it's not.
There's no
untrue, but I
easy
mean,
way for the average person to look at to go in and see who liked the video. Unless
Lee's
they
got it right
really
there.
want to.
Find a fucking spruce beer. You're good.
Yeah. All right. Good
I
times.
gotta get some more new Hujon Holidays IPA.
Who John?
Hujon Holidays from Trailway, which is Hujon hops, but it's the holiday edition with spruce tips.
Sure.
All right. We're gonna take this offline. So I want to thank Lee, especially being here since the very beginning of this episode. And
We're only
pumping
thinking
through it.
we're only thanking Manly though. Lady Lee, nah, sorry for.
Yeah, she wasn't even here.
Yeah,
And of course,
how
Jimmy
we-
Jazz for popping in out of nowhere. I'm assuming he watched a lot of it, as well as Radar 9 and that random Scott. We'll talk to you guys next week. Cheers.
Cheers, motherfuckers.
Cheers, motherfuckers. Peanut.